Today we're going to do the Lego brick, the parametric Lego brick. We're going to start off by doing a basic Lego brick design, and from there we will create a parametric Lego. What the parametric Lego, just a little explanation of what that is. We're going to create a parameter table. Okay, in this particular case, I have a parameter table created, and it's got what? 9 variables in it that I can set that controls the size and or dimensions of my Lego brick. This particular one is got a length. The length is the number of pins on the top in a row. So I've got 6. The width is how many rows of pins. I've got 2. If I change this, say, let's go back to the basic of 4 by 2. The along with it as well, you'll see the number of pins will be on the bottom, will be recalculated. If I go 8 by 4, so there's the top, and there's the pins on the bottom being recalculated, as well as the length and the width of the brick. All right, so let's click OK. Let's go to a new tab. What we're going to do, we're going to build the brick first. We'll put in our dimensions. Then we'll come back, create a parameter table, identify our parameters, and we will then go through the steps and modify our brick so that it is based upon the parameters we create. So let's start off by building the brick. It's important to understand how the brick's built first. Let's create a sketch, top bottom plane, roll mine over. I'm going to fix that problem one of these days. I am going to draw a 2-point rectangle starting from the origin. Click. Length is going to be 32 millimeters and the height will be 16. All right, so there's my base design. Finish sketch. Home position, extrude 9.6 millimeters. New body, click OK. Let's create a sketch on the top of our surface. There we are. Anytime I click the top, I've got to roll it. Let's draw a 5 millimeter center diameter circle anywhere in this area. 5 millimeters. Now, this is our first top pin. We are going to position this 4 millimeters from the top edge and 4 millimeters from the left edge. So let's go with our sketch dimension tool, center of our circle, top edge, 4 millimeters. Center of our circle, left edge. Look at that, 4 millimeters. So it's positioned. Okay, let's finish sketch. Home position. Let's extrude our first pin, 1.7 millimeters. Click OK. Should have been a join. I didn't look at it, which I should have. Let's edit feature, join, good. Let's put a 0.2 millimeter fillet on the top edge, 0.2. There we are. Now I want to create a rectangular pattern. So let's go create. There it is, rectangular pattern, create, pattern, rectangular pattern. I'm going to set mine to features because I want to grab both the extrude and the fillet features. And I'm going to select the extrusion and the fillet. Okay, so I've got both those items selected. The axis, I'm going to select this length, this long edge as my axis. And I'm going to grab this first arrow. Now, we want our quantity to be 4. And the spacing will be 24. How did I come up with 24? It's very important to understand this. The spacing between the center point to center point, the center point of this connector to the center point of this circle for this connector is always 8 millimeters. It's the same going both in length and width of the brick. 8 millimeters. Center point to center point is always 8 millimeters. It's going to be the same on the bottom connectors, 8 millimeters. Just kind of drill that into the brain at this moment, 8 millimeters. So I've got 4 pins. The gaps between 1 and 2 is 8 millimeters. Between 2 and 3 is 8 millimeters. Between 3 and 4 is 8 millimeters. Okay, so 3 gaps of 8 gives me 24 millimeters. All right, let's grab the other arrow now and let's start that process. I'm only going to have 2 rows on this base brick, and that gives me 1 gap of 8 millimeters, so my distance will be 8. All right, that looks good. I'm going to click OK. So there's my rectangular pattern creating the pins. I'm going to roll the brick over so I can see the bottom. I'm going to shell it out now. My wall thickness is 1.49 millimeters. Let's just keep it simple and make it 1.5 millimeters. 1.5 millimeters. And click OK. All right, so I've got it shelled out now. I've got one more step, and that's to add the bottom connectors. It's going to take a few steps to do it, but we'll get there. Let's create a sketch on this bottom face. So I'm looking at the bottom of as I roll my mouse up here, the bottom of my design, my brick. Select that bottom face. Now, the bottom connector works as it is centered between 4 top connectors. So I see 4 top connectors here, but those aren't my 5 millimeter diameter circles. So I'm going to turn on construction. First thing I'm going to do is draw from the center point there. That's one of my top connectors. I'm going to click and I'm going to draw my 5 millimeter circle. Now it's already positioned because I used the center point of the top one. Now, so imagine I had 4 of these circles. My bottom connector will touch all 4. Let's draw a construction line from the center here to the center of this one. So I'm creating a diagonal in this square. So there's my diagonal line. And a diagonal, the center point, if I ran one here where they met, would be the center of my rectangle. We don't have to draw that other one because, as we've talked about before in class, Fusion gives us the center point of our line. So let's go center diameter circle. Let's find the center point of our construction line here. There it is. There's my triangle. Click. And I'm going to drag this up the line until it snaps tangent to my construction circle. See it? I get the tangent symbol and click. So there's my circle. If it is tangent, if this is a square and this is centered, and it is tangent to this 5 millimeter center diameter circle, it's going to be tangent to the center diameter circle, a 5 millimeter center diameter circle at these 3 locations. Okay? You can draw it and test it, but I guarantee you it's right. Now, the wall thickness, this is not solid, it's hollowed out, and we want it to be 1 millimeter. So I'm going to offset this circle, -1 millimeter, enter. I'm going to finish sketch. This is my first bottom connector. Finish sketch. I'm going to roll it over just a little bit. I'm going to extrude this shape. I'm going to make it offset. And what I'm going to do is offset it so that it's always even with the bottom of my design, this bottom edge. Click OK. And now I've got my last rectangular pattern. I'm going to select feature will work. I'm going to select my extrude, my axis. All right. I have 3 of them. It's the top connectors, the bottom connectors are always one less in length and width, the number per row and the number of rows than the top. So, and 3 at a gap of 2 gaps of 8 will give me 3 and 16 millimeters as the spacing. And I'm going to click OK, and there they are. We'll come back on the next video and do the parametric design.